What's good, people? Welcome back to another episode of the Full Quarter Talk podcast. We're happy to be back. You get to see our beautiful faces once again. I'm Josh Masoki, co-hosted with
Jack Brazil. It's been too long since you've seen our beautiful faces on your screen, but we're back. Apologies for no episode last week. I'll take full responsibility for that. I had to take a friend to A&E, so I think that's as good as an excuse as anything, right?
Yeah, we need an all-star break. It was a much needed all-star break.
Yeah. I mean, we're all-stars in our own right, so if they get a break, why can't we?
Yeah. And
Matas Baranauskas. Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while. You're well rested today?
Oh, yeah.
And look, we might as well get into it. In honour of our beautiful faces, we got to talk about the face of the league.
Nice, smooth.
Yeah.
Smooth.
So let's get into it. I mean, we've got a lot of young stars rising up in the ranks right now.
Yep.
It's been a lot of stars breakout years this year. So it brings the question, who is the face of the league and who has potential to be the face of the league moving forward?
I think currently, it's still LeBron James.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's solely dominated by him. I think it's a mix of LeBron and Giannis right now, because those are the people that get thrusted in the all-time conversations right now. And you got Giannis as the European president, so I feel like the league's being a bit more conscious of that worldwide market.
I don't know. If we're talking about who should be, I think Giannis is up there. You know, you got Jokic, all them players, but Curry is still up there.
Curry
and LeBron, I believe, they're two of the leading vote getters in the West. And then just looking at that All-Star game, it's hard to, even though Curry is playing terrible right now.
Yeah.
I think the first game out of the All-Star break. Do you remember that game when in the pre-game warm-up, he had that warm-up where he hit a shot
hit everything. Yeah.
You want to know the stats for that game?
Go on.
He shot 3 for 10 from 3.
Nice.
And then the next game, 5 for 16. So the slump continues. But regardless of that, he still is one of the faces of the league.
Hey, yeah. I mean,
him and LeBron.
I've actually got a stat here. Taking a note out of Matas's book, bookmarking stats I see throughout the week.
Yeah.
And it's the NBA social stats, right? So the views that each player has generated this season. In first, you have Steph Curry with 674 million views. I feel like a lot of that is to do with his record-breaking week he had in Madison Square Garden. Sure. I mean, you could not get enough of that. Like that content was everywhere. Yeah. Obviously, it's a big deal, so that's justified. Then you got LeBron James in second with 402 million views. So there's a big gap between Curry and LeBron. And then at number 3 is a player I assume we're going to be discussing.
Ja Moran.
You
can't scroll without seeing Ja Moran.
You cannot scroll without.
People are getting mad, but if he's going to have a highlight every other quarter, why would you not post it?
Another stat. His first half buzzer beater, where Steven Adams threw it to him, the most viewed NBA clip on NBA socials this season by far.
Wow. He's a very exciting player to watch. So
42.1 million Instagram video views. Not this season. The most viewed NBA Instagram video ever.
What?
Ever?
Yes.
Oh my.
Is that buzzer beater alley thing?
How long ago was it? How?
The stats are here. The stats are
Is it in terms of per day, like in the day it was posted, or?
It just says 42.1 million Instagram video views.
Yeah, it's definitely not the most.
Yeah, it's gotta be capped, bro.
This is via NBA PR. So.
Oh, on their account.
Yeah. So
there's got to be in the day.
We need to find. Yeah, we need more context on that. Maybe it's like the most in an hour or the most in that 24 hours or something like that.
And on that day, his videos created 80 million views on that 52-point performance.
Yeah, he had a lot
because he had the poster.
Had the poster. Yeah, he's a captivating.
He had the limitless three as well.
Yeah, I mean every season the NBA in recent years anyway, the NBA has anointed like a young player that they're gonna try to thrust onto us. Yeah, and
pause.
I mean, you kind of have to reach. You kind of have to reach for that. You have to reach.
Thrust is a crazy word.
But we had Zion.
Yep.
I mean, we had Lonzo Ball before. Yeah. We had Zion. We had Luka.
Now it's Ja's turn.
Yeah, Ja.
That's
And LaMelo before that as well, but
especially this season, like Ja is everywhere.
Ja is everywhere.
Like when YouTube, like everyone are talking about Ja, like they're
seeing people
pushing
on
Ja
Twitter, they're like,
a lot.
like they're gonna make people hate on Ja, but like maybe they'll make like 12-year-old kids hate on Ja, but if he's having the highlights, he's not gonna post.
I
them.
mean, say you're like not a basketball fan and you stumble across the NBA's Instagram and you see a video of Ja hitting a 360 layup or a posterizer, that's going to bring a lot of engagement and maybe some new fans.
100%.
So you can't blame the NBA for pushing Ja so much. And that's why I think, in relation to your question, who's going to be the future face of the league, it feels like the NBA is really trying to push Ja to be the future face of the NBA.
Yeah, at this point, especially I think in recent weeks.
I think Luka also, obviously.
Yeah, he's Ja is like a perfect type of player because he has the mentality. He's really marketable, obviously, in his play and in his interviews. But I think in regards to the future, I think it's a trick question. I don't think we're gonna have a LeBron type face of the league. Anytime soon. We've been lucky to be witnessing like a generational top 2 player of all time. That doesn't come around in every single generation.
Do you not think
it's going to be more similar to the 2000s?
Controversial question. Do you not think Luka has top 3 potential?
Oh, he has.
Because if I read out his stats compared to LeBron, first 245 games, Luka has 134 wins, LeBron 126. Obviously, that's not that big of a deal because Luka, you would say, was on a better team. Luka averaged 26.1 points per game, whereas LeBron averaged 26.5, so very similar. Luka averaged 8.5 rebounds, whereas LeBron averaged 6.6. And Luka averaged 7.9 assists, whereas LeBron averaged 6.6. Right. And Luka also has double the amount of double-doubles as LeBron had in those first 245 games.
Since we're not talking about context of eras, should we pull up the Ja versus D-Rose stats?
We can. We can.
But honestly, with that debate, with the LeBron... Look, Luka is playing at a very high level, but you have to look... It's about the difference between him and the other players. A lot of players are having those type of stats because of the era that we're in. Those games back in the 2000s were finishing like 80 to 85.
And if you probably compare the amount of threes Luka shot in those 245 games compared to LeBron, it's probably unbelievably different.
So my point is, it's not trying to put down any player currently. I mean, if hypothetically LeBron was drafted today instead of 2003, I think it would be the same thing.
He'd have a much different skill set.
Yeah, and I don't even mean it in that way. I mean, there's so much talent right now coming up at the same time to where there's not as much of a difference between each player enough to be one singular face.
So you're saying when LeBron was drafted, he was kind of like an enigma, whereas
even though obviously his draft class was one of the most stacked at the time,
but he still stood out ahead of all those greats. Whereas although you've got people like Trae Young, like Zion, obviously he's not playing at the moment, but who are putting up ridiculous numbers because the game has changed. Well, speaking of Zion.
Speaking of Zion, I mean, we talk about one of my best draft picks of this fantasy league. Now we got to talk about
the worst. I mean, you can't read. I mean, look, it was high risk, high reward when you picked him.
When I drafted him, okay, the Pelicans said Zion will be out for 2 weeks at the start of the season, ramping up from his foot injury, and he will suit up. I mean, they were probably trying to finesse the ticket holders. Yeah. But I was like...
You got finessed.
I'll get him December latest. I'll give him December.
Today is the 3rd of March, 2022.
It's getting ugly.
And he's still yet to touch the floor.
And the situation keeps getting worse because first I thought, okay, he's kind of out of shape. And the out of shape comment is difficult because, well, firstly, when we're talking about athletes, out of shape, being in shape is part of your job. So, but with Zion, he's always been the type of player that's bigger for his size, and because of his rare athleticism, that's what's made him the prospect that he is. But when you have an injury, like a foot injury, obviously it's hard to work out whilst you're injured, and so he had a potential to put on a lot of weight if he's not playing. So that's what's put that situation. Now he's kind of in a loop where he's out of shape because he's injured because he's out of shape, and he's out of shape because he's injured. Yeah, and it's tough to come back from that.
It's tough. Do you think? I personally think the city of New Orleans and the organisation of the New Orleans Pelicans have handled this situation terribly. I think, because for example, some examples of their behaviour.
Oh, you saw the float.
We'll get to that, but the first one, I don't know if you saw, they were advertising their season tickets for next year.
Oh yeah,
and they said, come see CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, and Devontae Graham or something.
And their coach.
And coach, whatever. No mention of Zion Williamson. And then the float in, was it Mardi? It wasn't Mardi Gras, was it? I don't think that's yet.
Yeah.
But they had a float where
New Orleans always has some type of festival going.
They had a fat man in athletic wear.
Rows on rows on rows, man.
In athletic wear, with a high top fade. Some could assume that might be a depiction of Zion Williamson.
Could have been a young Boogie McFarlane, maybe. Yeah,
I think they're pushing him away from that organisation.
But there's two sides to it, okay? So, firstly,
we had the whole team, like he's a bad teammate because he didn't reach out to CJ McCollum.
I mean, New Orleans are allergic to prosperity. If they fumble this, they've now fumbled Chris Paul, Anthony Davis and Zion back to back, because as soon as they lost Chris Paul, they got AD the next season. As soon as they lost AD, they got Zion the next season. So, but
they're getting blessings in their lap, kind of thing.
Yeah, when Zion was drafted, though, he was drafted into what we thought was a great situation for a young player to be drafted in, because he wasn't put in a position where he has to rescue a franchise by himself. He got to just kind of have a role within it, because he was drafted to a team that had freshly just made the deal with the Lakers to get their young cast, and so we thought, okay, they can all grow together, and this is a perfect foundation for a rebuild. That's kind of accelerated because they already have all the pieces in place. I think the start of the breakdown was trading away Lonzo.
Oh, 100%.
Because that's a player that he liked a lot and was a great perfect fit. Transition-wise, perfect fit.
And connection was good as well.
Yeah, and then another underrated part, because obviously we had JJ Redick calling out Zion, but another angle to that is JJ Redick himself talking about the organization before, because he wanted a trade to Brooklyn.
Yeah, he wanted to see his family and stuff.
Yeah, and they had an agreement in hand that he'd trade him to an Eastern Conference team where he could be closer to his family, and then they traded him to Dallas, which is the furthest you can get from Brooklyn. And so after that point, there was apparently conversations with Zion about trusting the organization, because JJ Redick said that they want a trustworthy organization. So a lot of that has added up to the situation, really. And it's looking tough.
But on the court, the Pelicans have been playing fantastically well since they've acquired CJ McCollum, winning 8 of their last 12. So you do think that if Zion, I doubt he'll be back this year, but if he comes back to that same core next year, then the Pelicans could be a real playoff threat. Yeah,
because with Zion, with news of him winning out now, it is a bit strange, because they've not been perfect, but I can't say they've been terrible. They've not terribly handled this, because look at it, they've done more for Zion this season than the Blazers have done for Dame in the last since they drafted him. And look, having CJ as your second best player with all of the rest that they've got going on with Valanciunas,
having Brandon Ingram as your third best player,
Brandon Ingram, that's a great team for you to come into in your third season. That's an amazing team. And
then you've got Jonas Valanciunas as a fourth option.
You've got a lot of players giving a lot less a chance.
They have a good starting five.
Zion's hardly been in a Devin Booker situation, because all of these other examples we're talking about, at least those players have been on the court to know that team's not fitting. But what Zion's played, I think last season was the most he'd played, and I think, what was that, 70...
I don't know how many games.
Actually, no, there was only 72 games last season. Yeah. But I think he's just played just over a season in his first 3 years combined. And of course, you can look to examples like Joel Embiid, who played 30 in his first 3 years. But I think Zion needs to give it a chance.
Zion played 61 games last year.
Yeah, and then the year before,
and statistically, he was unbelievable. 27 points and 70% shooting.
He was dominating.
Yeah, he was dominating.
Yeah, so
the games against the Lakers, like Zion against LeBron.
Yeah, so I think it's too early for Zion to give up on the Pelicans. Way too early.
But I wouldn't blame him.
Yeah. I would.
The way they've treated him, I wouldn't blame him.
I think it's too early. you have to understand, when you're getting drafted that high, you're not getting drafted to the perfect situation.
Yeah.
And he's not handled it great either. Like, he's not put himself in the best position to be available for them as well. So,
well, the thing is, if he says like, yeah, I don't want to stay, like, where is he going?
and listen, that's the thing. This is the biggest thing.
Imagine if he ended up on the Knicks after all this.
But look.
Even worse situation. I don't know.
No, I know, but
We're talking about this right now. Every other young player that's been in this situation, we're talking about this at the end of their second contract.
Yeah.
Like, this is way too early.
That's true.
And
but
he's gonna sign.
But when was the
resign.
last time a rookie in their first contract was treated this poorly by a whole city?
what do you mean, though?
Like, they're being disrespectful to the guy.
But come on, man. Like
They're publicly humiliating him. And yes, he's been injured, and
that's
maybe
not
he hasn't helped
grounds
himself.
That's not grounds for
I
asking
don't
out.
know.
It is not.
And as you said with JJ Redick, this is not unique to Zion Williamson. That organization has shown before that they are, if I can't put it a better way, disrespectful.
Have they been? I don't know. Like, this is not, in terms of on the court, I guess those outside factors play a role, but then you've got cities like 76ers, they were saying the same. I promise you they were saying the same thing about Embiid. Because I was following,
not even worse.
I was following Embiid since before he got drafted, like when he was at Kansas. Like, I was looking at a lot of, because I thought he was going to get drafted first overall, and looking back, he probably should have. But when he wasn't playing those first few years, people were saying he's out of shape because he'd put on a lot of weight as well. He was like really skinny before he got drafted.
Yeah.
And he'd put on a lot of weight in a short amount of time, and they were saying the same things about him. It's not justified taking it to the personal level, but it's understandable for you to not be happy about like how it's played out on both sides so far. But I think a lot of stars have had to endure more in terms of on the court to start their career. I think asking out in your third season is like detrimental, and if it were to happen, the implications that this would have on the league, especially in the same season as Ben Simmons asking out with 4 years left on his contract for the CBA, that would completely damage, especially because I think the CBA is coming up as well, the end of the CBA, the current contract. Like, this would push back stars in terms of free agency and in terms of their rights for asking out for trades for like decades, because now it's getting to the point where, are you even honouring these contracts anymore?
Yeah.
So you can't just have players asking out as soon as something gets a little bit uncomfortable, asking out every time. Like, I'm all for player empowerment, player movement, but it's to a certain extent. You can't have rookies. You can't have people in their rookie deals like demanding trades.
But when it's a tricky one, because I agree with you in a sense that it could be damaging for the future of the league. But when you're as big of a name as Zion Williamson, you have more power than the traditional rookie, right? And the fact that the city's not doing anything to keep him there, on the court, the situation is good for him to come back in. I agree.
Exactly. So,
but if you feel disrespected and you feel embarrassed to be in that city, like the organisation not putting you in that advert, the float kind of thing, like, it feels like the whole city's laughing at him when they should be praising him. Like, he's been injured, yeah, but everyone gets injured. You saw Embiid was injured for the first 3 seasons of his NBA career.
The same treatment.
I know, but you should see that.
Fairly so.
I don't think he was getting the same public embarrassment that Zion was receiving.
I don't think like one group of people putting up a float is representative of the whole fan base.
And you don't know what's happening inside.
To be fair, the Pelicans don't have many fans, so it might have been representative of the whole fan.
And they've been riding. Let's be honest, like, the amount of support, I'm sure Zion is like high up in jersey sales and things like that. The amount of support that he's got from that city, despite barely playing any games, has been quite high.
Yeah, when he's on the court, but when he's not on the court, I feel like you have to stick by your players when they're out injured. When he's on the court and he's putting up 27 points a game, it's very easy to support a player.
What do you mean? What do you mean by that? I get the flow, but like outside of the flow, what do you mean?
I don't know. I just like.
Are they supposed to be like posting about him when he's not even playing?
They just don't have to talk about him right now. I
don't think he has been talked about that much until recently.
I don't know about that. I think he's talked about quite a lot. For a player who's been out
just because of his injury, because he's coming back.
I know there's a lot of setbacks which will create a lot of conversation.
Yeah,
but It's just a combination of things with that flow and also disrespecting the organisation as well. Because I don't know if you saw that, if you remember that video when they got the first pick.
Yeah.
The boardroom went crazy. Have you seen that video?
Yeah.
And how was the situation turned that sour in that short of a time?
But you don't know what's happening inside the organization. You just
rehabbing away.
You just hear from the out.
Yeah, he's rehabbing
outside.
away from the team, which is it could be potentially good for him personally, but it's not great. Because I
getting called a bad teammate as well is another thing.
Yeah, but that's mostly been from reaction to... Because if you look back at that interview with CJ McCollum, when he said that, I don't think he was calling him out. I think he just... he literally just said, I don't think... No one within the organisation was publicly calling him a bad teammate. That was just the reaction of everyone to that quote. And I think they've put him in a position where when he is healthy and comes back, he's coming back to a great situation.
Yeah,
so for him to demand a trade in that situation would be pretty... That'd be really premature decision to make. A really emotional decision to make and sudden at the time.
On one hand, yes, but I could see a justification for why he would want to leave.
I don't. I can see justification for why he should be unhappy in the moment, but look, we can go down the line. Kobe was ripped following. I think they blew a 3-1 lead to the Suns. It was around the time, and he was pouting in Game 7, like decided not to shoot. They turned on Kobe, like temporarily, if we're talking about this situation with Zion. They said, oh, he's selfish, he doesn't pass, blah, blah, blah. And then he pouted, but he stayed with it.
But that's so different. That's on the court stuff. Like, that's because at this point he hasn't performed. Zion is just at home rehabbing, trying to get healthy, and he's still getting this disrespect. It's different. Do you know what I mean? But it's like untargeted. I feel like he's unwarranted. Like,
I think you're kind of overblowing. Like, I think if we talked about Zion like 2 months ago, I don't think most of this stuff. I don't think he's been like called out like weekly or even monthly like the whole season. I think it's a topic that's being brought up because of, I guess, when he has a setback or when he was visibly like quite out of shape, especially when the report came out that he was close to like 330 pounds. But these are things that, whilst making a float about it isn't great, but criticizing it is not completely unwarranted, because as an NBA player that's 6'6", you shouldn't be close to like 3,500 pounds.
I think
so
this.
Yeah. No,
I think this season Zion been mentioned only when team is asked about his injury.
Yeah.
Like none other time apart like from.
I don't know about that.
Well,
like
people even call him like Greg Oden and stuff.
Yeah, but you're talking about Twitter, bro. You're not talking about the organization.
You know, NBA Twitter is toxic.
No, NBA Twitter is not representative of.
I know. But I've made my points about the organization. Those points still stand.
Yeah, you've made the point of what? That email was terrible. It was a horrible email. Maybe the justification for that is that they don't want to finesse maybe the next person to draft Zion in the fantasy.
They did it for you.
Maybe they don't. Maybe they are unsure of whether he will be. Now, I think it's still too premature to say that for next season. So they flopped there. But I think outside of that, they've protected him mostly throughout the first few years. Like whenever there's a grey area of whether Zion's ready, remember that first season when he first got injured, they kept him out more than they needed to because out of precaution. So I think they've put Zion in a pretty good position. And now they've given him teammates to where when he comes back, the pressure's not all on him. If Zion was drafted to the Knicks, I think his career would be a lot worse by now, because they probably would have made him play through a lot more things. Yeah, he'd be like complete carry mode. So I don't think he should want out, and I think both sides could have handled it a lot better. Definitely.
100%.
Definitely.
Yeah, the email is probably the best point. That ticket holder email was not great. I'm sure whoever wrote that has been released by now.
Yeah.
But okay, that's that topic. I'm sure we'll have updates of that. I'm sure we will, and I'm sure we'll talk about it again. But speaking of, Zion coming into the season, coming into the league, his biggest comparison was LeBron, and LeBron has his own organizational drama. we could have a whole episode dedicated to the Lakers every week, really.
Yeah.
I mean, we could go full undisputed on you. We could go full Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp and just talk about the Lakers every week. But I've tried not to for my mental health.
Exactly. I'm so glad I'm not a Lakers fan.
Same.
Honestly, just Russ, please just leave, please. I can't do this anymore. So they're currently on a 3-game losing streak. The Crypto.com arena is cursed. They're 11-17 since they made that switch.
They're 7 games under 500.
7 games out.
7 games under 500.
You love to see it.
So expand. That would be perfect for his mental health.
You had Luka seeking out LeBron in 1v1 matchups.
They play the Jazz. The Mavs play the Jazz. He ISO'd Gobert 3 straight
Over
plays.
3.
Over 3. ISO'd LeBron 3 straight. 3.
One was an assist, to be fair, I think. But it was like...
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, if you look at them, it was actually great defense, and he made that one tough fade. He made the pass. Like, LeBron would stop him, but then, like, great offense beats great defense. But yeah, it's not looking good for the Lakers. And in the time coming off the All-Star break, we were going to talk about his comments throughout All-Star weekend and around the trade deadline.
Yeah.
And they were very questionable. Following
talking about the Bronny James comments.
So before that, obviously the Lakers made no moves at the trade deadline, and we talked about that.
Yeah.
And LeBron was not happy about that either. So he praised the Los Angeles Rams GM because he said, "We
Stan
don't care
Kroenke.
about."
Oh no, he's the owner. He's not the
He's
GM.
He's owner.
Wait, is he?
He's the owner.
He's the owner.
He's
But
the
he praised.
we know him.
Yeah, you love him, but
Yeah, to be fair.
But the Rams.
Nowadays,
So the Rams GM said he doesn't care about first round picks, and then LeBron was like, "My type of GM," obviously referring to Pelinka not agreeing to trade their first round pick. Then they praised Presti for his strategy, which is
LeBron
weird.
to OKC confirmed.
Yeah.
To be fair, you could have a pick that ends up being Bronny James, and then
I do not.
Would you want to draft
It depends
Bronny
how
to
high
play with
we'd
you?
have to get him, because if we had to use like our first round
apparently his draft stock has fallen quite a bit
Really?
this season. I think he's struggled quite a bit this year.
He's been playing all right, but it's just, I think it's hinging on him either having like a growth spurt or something like that, because he's been like average.
Yeah, his little brother's taller than him now.
Yeah.
Bryce is taller than Bronny.
Wait, is Bronny getting drafted this year? Or
No.
next year?
He's a few years.
He's
out.
a few years out. I think he's 16, 17.
No, Bronny James.
Yeah, Bronny.
Really?
Bronny's in his he's in his junior year, I think.
Still.
Yeah.
So it's like.
To be fair,
So LeBron, I'm not drafting not drafting Bronny like the lottery for a 40-year-old LeBron.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that, especially like thinking about where our team would be at that point. Yeah.
Especially like your young squad,
With Giddy and all that. Yeah. Like we don't need. Yeah. The Kings, man, sell some tickets. The King playing for the Kings.
LeBron can stay in California.
Yeah, they got a whole thing going there, but so he praised Presti, which is strange because that's like the opposite strategy of that he was talking about. And then he's talking about wanting to play with Bronny. I'm willing to leave to play with Bronny, which is weird timing to come out with that. And then the Cavs have the Cavs should be proud to have 3 All-Stars in them 3 and me. So that's a weird one there. So he was vocal about not being happy with Clutch Sports weren't happy with the deadline moves. It was centered around a move apparently to acquire John Wall. I think maybe Christian Wood as well. I'm not sure. But the big sticking point was trading away their 2027 first round pick along with Russ.
Jesus.
Which would be like, don't do that. I understand capitalizing on having LeBron right now, but there's an extent to how much of your future you should just get rid of. Because they will not have a draft, because after that Pelicans move, if they do that, they're not going to have any draft picks in the 2020s.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, you can quite easily see the Lakers becoming like the...
Well, look at them now then.
I know.
They might be lottery this year with
but
them 3.
I feel, it's probably going to get even worse.
Exactly.
Like back to the Robert Sacre days and...
Like
and I wish I saved
games
this
from dropping out.
I wish I saved this, but they currently have the same record that they had the season before they got LeBron.
And they have now AD, LeBron, and Russ.
The fourth season with LeBron. First season missed out on playoffs.
Yeah.
Second year won the championship.
Bubble.
Yeah.
Third year playing. This year looking like playing or missing the playoffs. So has LeBron's time in LA been?
So pretty much, if Mickey Mouse didn't wave his magic wand,
And the thing is,
we're looking at.
I mean, if we're speaking about flukes, boy.
the thing is, like right now they would play Pelicans in the play-in. Would they beat Pelicans?
No, not in their current form. I don't think. But then I also wouldn't like to bet against LeBron in a do or die.
Did you see? So the last game that they lost,
Did you see like LeBron was out?
Yeah, but yeah, his body language is terrible.
But he also said recently that he sees himself being in LA for as long as he can play.
Yeah, whatever.
So like I don't know what.
But look, his body language is terrible when they're not playing well.
I don't blame
and then you see the next game. I mean, the next day after the most recent loss, I forgot who it was against.
Dallas.
Yeah, the day after they had their team photo for the year.
Yeah, I saw that.
The thing is, I
think they were just probably waiting for DeAndre Jordan to. They didn't win him in that picture.
Right, it's so funny though. You just see Dwight cheesing mad hard, like he's like their Kemba, and then you got like Russ looking like
Was DJ Augustine in the picture?
I'm not sure, but you got Russ looking like he wants to be on the first playing out.
Yeah, I saw a tweet that said you can't judge the Lakers properly until DJ Augustine comes back.
No, it was Ken Bazemore.
I saw DJ Augustine one, but
he hasn't.
No, I know, but that's how they worded it. I don't know.
Yeah, fair enough. But
still a funny tweet.
Like talking about Bronny, if Lakers
where's Kendrick Nunn? Where's Kendrick Nunn?
I don't blame him for not wanting to play.
If they continue to play like this, LeBron might not need to leave. They will just draft Bronny.
They'll just draft Bronny with their pick.
Right now, to be honest.
Yeah.
He might crack the rotation at this point.
Have you seen Malik Monk's stats since he got caught going out with Azalea?
Yeah, man, like 7 points.
7 points, 0.7 threes made per game.
Yeah, he's using up all his shots off the court.
And before Iggy was like 17 points, something like that.
Yeah, he was super.
Yeah, he was balling at that point. But they've had some ugly losses. Like the loss to the Pelicans, that was an ugly one. The loss of the Blazers was terrible because that was when they just traded away all those players and they hadn't even got the return yet.
It was like Anthony Simmons and like CJ Elder.
The other
CJ Elder that cooked them.
There you go.
And I don't know if you heard this report. The Bleach report said that all camps are looking to move away from Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, Russ and the Lakers both won out of that situation. I feel bad for him.
Yeah,
it looked like
he was balling in Washington.
It was just a terrible fit, and now his confidence is gone. So just like, I thought I was optimistic. I never thought this was going to be a good fit, but I thought that they're good enough of a team that it wouldn't matter as much as it has, and it's just ugly now. And you can see that Russ still has it because when LeBron and AD don't play, he goes off. But it's just a terrible fit, and it's sad for him because I'm sure he grew up as a kid wanting to play for the Lakers his whole life.
100%.
For it to end like this,
it is sad.
It is sad. But with this situation, LeBron says here, LeBron is averaging 29 since January 9th, 29, 9 and 6 on 52% shooting, and the Lakers are 6 and 15 in that span. Now, that would suggest that LeBron is carrying, which he is, but how much is LeBron responsible for how the team is right now? Because he's not happy. He's not happy with Pelinka for not trading away Russ or whatever, for a situation that he kind of he facilitated
himself. Yeah.
Because they weren't chasing names. They were chasing, Buddy Hield, keeping their current. The front office was going for fit, right? Yeah, they were just retooling because last season they were in a play-in, but it was mostly down to injuries. Now you'd look at that and you think, okay, we'll get healthy and we'll just make some tweaks. But they decided to go completely overboard and try to get a star in Russ. Mm-hmm. So how much of that is the pressure that LeBron puts on the franchise whenever he arrives, that we have to make the biggest moves possible
for LeBron?
Exactly. And then to add to that, with the talk about him going to the Cavs, should the Cavs even want him?
Well, I saw a report earlier today where the Cavs are reluctant to take him back because they kind of want to prove that then their success can be without
not
him.
even about
they're playing
that.
well without LeBron.
Forget about proving. Like,
It wouldn't be a good fit.
because when LeBron arrives, he's gonna say we want to win now, so we get rid of these players.
Yeah.
And it's justified. By the way, let's not because I see a lot of people on Twitter and things saying, LeBron is just a franchise killer. He comes in and gets rid of all your assets. Look, people develop assets to win a championship.
Yeah.
Down the line. So if you can fast track that process, and every franchise he's been to has won a championship with him, so that's a fair trade. The Raptors look back and look at Kawhi leaving one season, and they look at that as a great turnaround. They traded away DeRozan. I'm sure that emotionally that was sad, but renting out a player for 1 year and getting a championship out of that, every franchise is going to do that. Yeah. Not every franchise has a championship. So,
but I think the difference is that
right now the Cavs are not in a situation where they should do that.
When Kawhi left Toronto, they still had pieces to move forward, and obviously they're still successful. Yeah. When LeBron leaves a franchise, it kind of you rip the soul out of that franchise, and obviously the Cavs have done well to get back to where they are, but it took them a few years. Right?
And Kobe Altman said when LeBron left us, we had no real culture. We just had LeBron or die, and now they've actually gone about it the right way and developed something for the first time, pretty much since they had Mark Price maybe.
Craig Elo,
Mark Price, and then what? So they just have goats ripping the soul out of them because they had MJ rip the soul out of them with that shot.
Yeah.
But they have a really good foundation here, and I don't think it doesn't make sense to give that up for LeBron for a couple of years, especially at this stage of his career. He's not in the carrying stage of his career anymore.
Yeah.
Well, clearly not, because he's still putting up prime numbers, but they're not resulting to.
Your stat pad. Yeah, I see LeBron going back in 30-point blowouts in the fourth.
Yeah.
I see you, bro. Hey, hashtag chase Kareem.
Hey, he's trying to get there.
Oh yeah, 100% he's chasing.
He's trying to get there as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So he can just.
Because I think he's on pace to possibly pass Karl Malone this season, and then setting the stage for him to pass Kareem next year. So, yeah, he gonna stay in there. He gonna stay in there. Get back in that foot.
And you see,
he always hits them buzzer beat. He hits 4-quarter buzzer beaters at in blowout games every time.
Do you see his quote yesterday where he said, "Unless you bury me 12 feet deep."
Nice. Flip it and ship it.
Unless you bury me 12 feet deep, I'm gonna give my all, kind of thing. It's LeBron, for everyone's enjoyment, just sometimes you just gotta know when to stop, bro.
No, I'm loving this, man. I'm hating it, but it's really good content.
You're hating for Russ, but you're loving
for Russ. But this is great content. That game when they benched that game where they didn't play Russ, right near the deadline, and they got blown. Oh, was that the Blazers game?
I think so.
Yeah, and they got blown out. Oh, that's beautiful. And last game.
The thing is, I've got so much respect for LeBron. I don't like seeing him lose this much. I know I shouldn't be saying that because I'm a Bulls fan and he probably stopped us from winning the championship in 2011, 2012. But I just have so much respect for that man that I don't like seeing him, because he just feels like he's out there by himself. And it's felt like that before, but they were still successful.
Yeah, and my friend's a Lakers fan, so clowning him every day.
Yeah.
Oh, I like what happening with the Lakers. The thing is, at one point of the season, I think we had the same record.
Yeah.
And every Celtics fan Lakers lose, but we can't say anything because we should as well. Yeah. And now we are playing very well.
You two have that rivalry, don't you?
Yeah.
So,
but the thing is, if any, who is trading for Westbrook?
That's the thing. His contract.
He has what, 47 million next season. Who's going to trade for 1 year?
He's going to be 34 next year.
Who's going to trade for 1 year?
Is it 1 season left?
Yeah, this season and next season.
No, then next season he's definitely a tradable player then, because if you think about it, if you take in Russ for 1 season and then the next year you have 47 million more.
But what type of situation?
Yeah, exactly. He's not getting. A contender's not doing that.
Yeah.
It'd
be I don't even know. I can't even. Yeah, fuck it. Might as well. They fucking might as well.
It's New York, so
they might
Knicks,
as well.
I wouldn't be surprised.
The Knicks is not bad, man. He can just be in his element and just light up.
The next fan would.
So Randall goes back.
Yeah.
God,
Is Randall going back then?
just stop.
What about I mean, it's Stephen A. But what about the people calling for them to trade? Oh, we've talked about this already, now, haven't we? About them trading Anthony Davis as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. They play.
I wouldn't be surprised if Anthony Davis moved next season.
To be fair though, that tweet, LeBron's tweet at the start of the season, is going to go down. It's going to go down as one of the funniest moments in NBA history.
So badly, man.
That
Is the
so
one about
funny.
the age?
Yeah. When my squad get on that court, keep that same energy.
Yeah. Everyone kept the same energy. Everyone kept the same energy.
Every game Melo plays more than like 5 minutes. He needs like 3 games rest after.
Yeah. He had like 20.
The thing is, if LeBron went to the Cavs like in 2 years' time, he'd probably like Carmelo would be retired 2 years, and you'd like drag him out of retirement to like, come get this ring, Melo. He'd like try probably bring Dwayne Wade out of retirement, like
Banana boat
gang.
Yeah, the Lakers fans are down bad right now, but they're out here missing Kyle Kuzma. It's tough, bro.
He's been hooping.
It's tough.
Yeah, he's been hooping.
Yeah, that's my point. Yeah, and
if you think about it, they like right now they could have Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, and
no.
That's better than what they got right now.
Yeah,
but they won a title, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's my point.
They won a title.
They won a title. They won a title. I don't know if it's an NBA title, but they won. They won one. They won one. Yeah, because it's tough. Yeah, in that situation, you get a title. Like, who's to say that core, even though you're competitive for more years, who's to say that core ever results in a title?
I think it would have been a lot, but not just a better core, it also would have been a more flexible situation as well.
But you also have to think about it this way. The Lakers always, they're always giving up their young talent. Has anyone ever looked at, because the talent always thrives more elsewhere, and have you ever looked at the fact that the Lakers just aren't that good at utilising their players? Because it's not a coincidence because their fans like to say, they're just not ready for the bright lights of LA or whatever, but like, no, you're just not good at using your players. Have you noticed that your players are used differently in other situations? Like Caruso is given more of a role to do what he does best on the Bulls, and
we miss him dearly, dearly.
Kuzma, like on the Wizards, is balling.
You had
even Lonzo Ball.
You had Kuzma as a spot up shooter in the corner.
Yeah.
You had Ingram trying to play off ball with LeBron.
Montrezl Harrell was sitting on the bench last season.
I mean, it's not.
Yeah, but the thing is, he's played like they needed someone like.
Yeah.
And he didn't play, and he's playing well.
They tried to use him as like a starting like big just in a regular conventional big role.
Yeah, because there was this myth that he was like a great defender.
Yeah. When he really just plays hard.
Yeah.
And I think just Lakers fans just like they are not thankful enough for LeBron to bring their like championship.
Yeah,
I mean, you saw all the
Lakers
fans talking to the players the other day. Did you see that? Where they were like, all the fans were critiquing them, and then like all the players would stop and have a chat with them and stuff like that. Yeah.
Lakers fans are like really entitled. Yeah, they're like. Oh, yeah. That's why I like clowning them so much, because they're so entitled.
It's like, I know what you mean with like they don't utilize talent unless it's like a unbelievable all-time talent with a Kobe, a Shaq, a LeBron.
Because they're their own system in themselves, but when they actually have to deal with role players or even just secondary stars, they don't know how to. Russ, like, obviously it's a difficult situation because you don't want to tailor your team around your third best player. Like, that's not how you should run it. But if you're gonna get a Russ and LeBron, because right now they're not using Russ as a playmaker at all. They're just kind of. He's being put in the worst situations. Yeah. He is playing bad as well. I'm not trying to give him excuses.
Well, he even said that, didn't he?
Yeah. So I'm not trying to give him excuses. I'm just saying you're putting him in the worst position as well.
I think they should. Russ should be their sixth man. Sixth man of the year.
It actually.
To be fair, I think it will work.
It would fix a lot of their issues. Yeah. Well, it depends. I think you don't even have to do that. You can just stagger them. But you have to not have them on the court at the same time.
I just think you can never play LeBron and Russ
at the same time.
Yeah. And like you could run Russ and AD, not Russ and AD.
Vogel is he's so bad. Vogel's going under the radar as well.
He tricked you out, man.
No, Vogel, he's smart. Everyone. He used the Russ scapegoat by benching Russ for a few games.
How does Frank Vogel stuff?
Yeah, I don't understand.
Yeah, but
He's-
knowing the Lakers, they'd
scenes.
fire Frank Vogel and hire someone like Luke Walton or something like that.
Yeah, behind the scenes, I don't know, man. You seen those recent Genie Bus tweets? I don't know, man.
I actually didn't see those. I heard about them, but I didn't see them. What were they?
This is a professional podcast.
Okay.
Yeah. You just search it up.
I'll do some research in my own time.
Yeah, do some research. But yeah, Vogel, he had Rondo's another player they weren't utilizing, and now they're like, oh, look at Rondo playing well for the Cavs now. He's not good for the bright lights. Like, no, you had Rondo. I saw lineups of Rondo, Russ, and DeAndre Jordan on the court at the same time. Like,
what are you doing?
He's committing war. Okay, let me not.
Yeah, can't say that right now, bro.
Yeah, just.
But he's committing crimes against basketball right now, man. Like,
James Naismith did not foresee that when
like
when he made basketball.
He does not know how to do a rotate. Like his rotations are terrible. It took him the whole season to decide to like. I mean, even prior to releasing DeAndre Jordan, like he was still trying to start him in certain situations as well. Man, this guy does not know what he's doing.
Yeah, for real.
He should.
He needs to be like an assistant coach that just works on the defense.
Yeah, or just like a film guy or something. Something like that.
Yeah, man. Or just go back to Impractical Jokers.
No,
man.
just.
I mean, it seems like he's got an earpiece in. He's like, put Rondo and Westbrook on the court at the same
time. Your punishment is play DeAndre Jordan 30 minutes. Oh man. But okay, let's move on. So
yeah, I'm depressed now after that conversation.
Nah, let's lighten it up. Let's talk about some contenders, which the Lakers are definitely not one of.
Wait, by the way, I hope in those episodes that didn't come out, we didn't put the Lakers in our. We probably did.
No, I don't think we talked about.
I don't think
we didn't talk
Lakers.
about them because we didn't start recording like this season until like after Christmas. So
no, but remember we had episodes that didn't come out.
Oh right.
Yeah.
I don't think the Lakers were. Well, I think Bucks were like our main.
There's definitely a freezing cold take episode of me being gassed about Russ being free.
Probably, 100%.
For sure.
Those will never see the light of day. Those will never see light.
Free Russ, man. Free Russ.
Anyway,
everyone.
Let's talk about some actual good basketball playing teams, please.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna go over. We started off as an Eastern Conference topic, but we're gonna just expand it to the whole league. But it is still mostly the East. There's quite a few contenders this year, which is not normal. There's a lot of teams that could possibly win. So we're gonna go through what could possibly derail each squad from winning. All right, so let's start in the East, in the West, because there's not many in the West. So we'll start at the top with the Suns.
I mean, I think it's in the past 2 weeks it's become quite clear what could derail the Suns is their health. I mean, you've seen since Chris Paul has been out of the lineup, they've looked like a different team in the worst possible way. I think I'm not sure what they've gone over the last few games. Hold on,
8-2 in last 10.
8-2 in their last 10.
8-2 in the last 10.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not bad. But they're losing. They look human again. Yeah. Now, so they lost to the Jazz and the Pelicans in their last 3, and now Devin Booker's obviously in health and safety protocol, so we're gonna have to see how they deal with that. But obviously, Chris Paul is like the best fourth quarter player in the NBA, right? And that's where a lot of Suns wins have come this year.
CP3 and D-Book both like top 2 or 3 or whatever. So I think that's the only thing I can really see that derails. That's been scary. Like Chris Paul, his entire career, that's been the one thing that's stopped him in several situations is his health. And I think it's a hand injury right now, so that's not too much of a concern in terms of long term. But trusting him to stay healthy, he always seems to kind of fall off in the worst moments. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so
it's just about, for them it will be about luck. Like if they have all their players, then they will. I
think that's for a lot of teams.
Yeah,
of course.
But the Suns have been dominant, and I feel like we're the only ones like talking about them most of the time. But they're on pace for like before Chris Paul went down, they're on pace for
since Chris Paul's been out, they're 2-2, but one of those 2 wins was against Oklahoma City Thunder. So
I mean, we just beat the Nuggets yesterday. We just beat the MVP yesterday. So.
Did that end Boogie's unbeaten run?
Yeah.
Nah, that's tough.
Yeah, that's what we do, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to the Warriors.
I think it's quite similar.
Yeah.
Draymond Green.
They need Draymond.
Draymond Green.
They need Draymond back.
I think Kendrick Perkins said
He's most important player.
he said he's not the best player. He said he might be the best player, but
Just
he's
so
not
you
the best
know,
player.
this episode we've cited the expert analysis of Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah.
Kendrick Perkins.
Hey, as much as every NBA player has an off game or a good game, these analysts once in a while will have a good take.
A dead clock is right twice a day.
Yeah, exactly. A broken clock is right twice in a day. And he said that Draymond Green might not be the Warriors' best player, but he's for sure their most important.
Yeah, he is. He's everything for that team.
For defense.
He's a big part of Steph's ability to thrive off ball.
100%.
The synergy that they have is everything, and they haven't actually had all of their starters healthy in a game yet because Draymond's been out since Clay's been back as well.
Oh yeah, because he just tipped the ball and that's it, and he left the game then, and he hasn't played.
So he hasn't actually played with Clay back as well, and Clay is getting back. Clay is getting more and more accustomed to playing again, and looking like by the time he gets to the playoffs, he will be at his regular.
So they need Draymond to be back.
Also,
ASAP.
even when Draymond was there, Steph didn't look like himself, as we discussed. So I think Steph also needs to step up.
Steph needs to come back to his form.
I don't know what's going on with him. It's a season-long thing now.
Yeah.
What's his three-point percentage at? Is it at like 37 or something?
He needs to go some.
It's under 40.
I'll check now.
I think it's under 40 for the first time in his career.
Yeah, he's just been struggling with shooting. Like, he had amazing All-Star game.
37.5%
for the season.
Yeah,
that's crazy. I think for his career, he averages like 43, 44.
It's his lowest. Wait, hold on. Sorry, 1 second.
I think the one season where he like broke his hand, that doesn't really count because he didn't play enough games.
Yeah.
But I think he had like 25 that year or something, which is weird. But apart from that, like,
well, like he played amazing in All-Star game, and then came back and
I think we all knew that was gonna happen. Yeah. There's this account. There's this like Warriors Curry KD stan account that I see him every night saying this is going to be the game that Curry, this is going to be the game that Curry breaks his streak, breaks his slump. And
so since February, the Warriors are 15th in offense and 16th in defense. That is not a championship winning team.
Nope.
Wait.
15th in offense, 16th in defense. That is not a championship winning team by any means.
Normally,
the Grizzlies are fastly catching them for that.
I think to start the season they were like first and
first like both.
Grizzlies a game, half of the game.
Half a game.
Yeah, half a game.
Yeah.
2-6 in their last 8. The Warriors. So they can't get
6 in the last 10.
They cannot get Draymond Green back soon enough.
Yeah, they need that.
They because as we said on both ends of the floor, although it's not going to show up in the box score,
it's showing up now.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, this half season run is probably cementing his Hall of Fame case right now.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are going to respect him now.
Is there any news on when he's back?
I don't think so,
because it's a tough situation because it's a back injury, so that's hard to.
I also think the Warriors could have maybe gone out and got a better center.
I think they're banking on getting Wiseman back, and that's good enough.
That's a lot of pressure for.
But their entire run, they've been able to work with not having the great center. That because they had Kevin Looney. Yeah, Kevin.
Still got Kevin Looney.
They still got him. I mean, the remains of Kevin Looney. But the Zaza Pachulias, they revived
David Lee's.
It's not about the centers.
The Andrew Bogut's.
Put some respect on All-Star David Lee. Come on. But,
Andrew Bogut, was he an All-Star once? I think he was All-Star once. Andrew Bogut.
Yeah, I think he might have been. Former first pick.
First pick, yeah.
But
the Grizzlies.
Yeah, they're on there. They're hearing. The Warriors are hearing footsteps, man. They're hearing footsteps, and that I want to see them play each other because that's been a little underrated rivalry right there.
Yeah, but
them in the play in those last couple of years.
Yeah.
So
I think they lost to Grizzlies.
Yeah, they beat them
Play-in.
last season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Warren Jones had a good game.
Yeah, and the Grizzlies are not scared of the Warriors.
Oh yeah, I think they are not scared of anyone.
That would be the perfect matchup, I think.
And the thing is, to be fair, right now Grizzlies like healthier than Warriors.
Yeah,
So.
the Grizzlies. The thing with the Grizzlies is that they the thing that I said would hold them back is their inexperience, but that's also the same thing that's pushing them forward is their inexperience because they don't know.
They have no fear.
Yeah, they have no fear. So that can take them a long way, but it can also get in the way of them in terms of advancing in the playoffs.
Memphis also has the second easiest strength of schedule left in the NBA.
Who has the easiest?
Portland. But no one cares about that.
Yeah, but if they get a favourable, because the Grizzlies,
We have fourth easiest. Oh no,
You have fourth hardest.
fourth hardest.
Yeah, high percentage means harder.
Oh shit.
Yeah, but we have the third hardest. So
how far out are the Grizzlies from the Suns?
7.5.
Oh,
yeah, I don't think they'll catch them.
Because I was going to say, if they can get a favourable first round matchup with the first seed, then.
Well, who are they currently on pace to play?
Denver.
Ooh, that would be a good series, especially if Denver gets back with their guys.
Because Denver might have everyone back.
Yeah.
But if we're saying that Golden State is going to drop to 3, which is very possible,
Yeah. Ooh.
that's a great series.
And Denver, they're looking optimistic that they can get MPJ and Murray back.
I think MPJ might be back this month.
Yeah.
Is what they said.
And
I dropped him from fancy.
Jamal Murray, I think next month.
Yeah.
Wait, why did you outright drop him?
Because I just thought he was done for the season.
So just keep it in IR.
I know I should have done that, but I'm stupid.
Yeah, man. Anyway.
So now he's fair game, I guess. But he was terrible for me.
But to be fair, when were they saying he's back?
I think this month.
I think
End of this month.
Coming, yeah.
End of this month is probably like end of the fantasy playoffs, though. So.
Yeah.
But anyway, another thing with the Grizzlies is, do they have a secondary source of consistent scoring?
Yeah.
And that's something
it kind of fluctuates between Desmond Bain and Jared Jackson.
And Bain has been selling recently. But so when you get to those playoff situations and they're completely game planning Moran, they're going to force other people to beat them.
There's going to be a lot of pressure on his shoulders. A lot of pressure.
That? So,
100%.
But I feel like he's the type of character that can deal with that.
I think he
seems very confident.
He's very confident in himself.
He's that next player up that I could see having not quite that type of series, but remember the series with the Jazz and the Nuggets with Murray and like he could have that type of breakout series. He could.
Yeah, well, like last 5 he's averaging like 40, so he could do that.
I know about that, man. I know about that as
well. He dropped 46 on the Bulls.
My players are peaking at the right time.
We're playing them tonight as well.
Don't look, but we're peaking at the right time.
You're 3 games back on me, man.
I don't care about that. Look, I think you two have secured the bye for the first week, but it's all about peaking at the right time.
Anyway, we're not here to talk about fantasy.
It all resets in the playoffs.
We're not here to talk about fantasy.
I'm positive for record, so I'm happy with that.
What up?
Yeah. 10-3, 10-8.
Hey, you proved them wrong, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
All right, so let's go to the East. Enough of the West.
Wait, are we not saying the Jazz are contenders?
Let's go to the East. Enough of the West.
The Jazz have been a lot better recently.
They've been good for the last 3 years, and it was same thing.
How many times do you have to trick y'all, man? How many times?
9-1 in their last 10.
Okay, let's go.
0-9 in their last 9.
I just said let's go to the East.
Let's go to the East. Yeah, let's go to the East.
If we were going to talk about another West team, I would talk about the Nuggets, but they haven't got them back yet.
Exactly, same.
But yeah, let's go to the East. So
Miami.
Let's start with Miami.
Damn, I think we saw their biggest weakness last night.
Fraudulent tendencies.
Yes, they have that tendency to sell. I think their biggest strength is their defense, right? Yeah. But on the other side of the ball, they do not have that number one go-to scoring guy that I feel like every other team in the East has.
Look, they have the potential. They have the potential to hit on all cylinders, but they also have the potential for a Bucks first round like last year. Yeah. So it's tough because who do you rely on? You thought that maybe starting the season, Hero was ascending to that point where he could carry it, but you don't want you can't have your sixth man carrying your offense.
He dropped 30 yesterday on Bucks. So.
No one's saying he's not a good player, but
he can't be number one.
But he can't be your the savior of your you in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Because we're talking about getting to the finals here.
Yeah, and this season Jimmy Butler has shown. Obviously, Jimmy Butler is a high teens, 20-point per game score, or whatever. But we saw yesterday. You said he didn't score for the last 36 minutes of yesterday's game.
For the last 36 minutes.
And the last 3 quarters.
He was 6 points, 2 for 14 shooting.
And in the first round last year against Milwaukee, he had a stinker.
He struggled.
He was getting outplayed by Bryn Forbes. Man.
Yeah. So, was that another moment of the bubble tricking people?
Hey, mate.
No, I can't say that. Jimmy's my guy.
We need a bubble. We're gonna have a bubble 30 for 30. You know,
maybe just Bucks
they need
effect.
psychological studies on that.
Maybe just Bucks effect.
Did you see the shout out? This might be our first Bullsack Sports shout out. But did you see? They had the one about. I'm worried about the future of our society in terms of misinformation.
Yeah, man.
There was a
They've
quote.
got too many reliable journalists.
Bro, there's a quote about it's like LeBron saying, after they had that argument with the fans on the bench, he would say we should go back to the bubble type standards and have no fans in the stadium and stuff like that. And then someone was like, "Oh, that's LeBron, bro. He's so soft. Kobe would never But maybe they need the bubble.
Bullsack Sport it's just like a stroke of genius.
Yeah.
Never thought of that. It's such a genius.
He is because
That's
the
old mature.
graphics are so good.
Yeah.
No, you know the Damian Lillard ones, yeah. he posts a Dame loyalty one every day, and people buy the bait. And then you have the small text at the bottom.
Yeah.
He literally put my 40-second interview with Damian Lillard. This is obviously bullshit. This is obviously BS. And then people were still taking
Quoting it and stuff.
It's legit. Dame's PR team is gonna fucking sue them at some point. But all right, yeah. So with the Heat, how's Duncan Robinson playing? Is he still?
He's not.
He's still down.
Yeah, I don't think he's been playing well.
Yeah, man. They gave everyone. They had some unlimited cap space this summer, and they pretty much gave
I think
everyone.
he's still to a point where you have to respect his shot, but
That's not what he's being paid for, though.
Yeah.
Everyone got given 10 mil plus this offseason.
But a good thing for the Heat, they found a lot of unwanted pieces that have turned into really good pieces for them, Gabe Vincent, Cody Martin.
Yurtseven.
Huh?
Do they still play Yurtseven?
I don't think they actually do. But,
It's crazy. He was balling out and then he's completely cut.
He's balling out against
because came back.
They still got Victor Oladipo to come back. I mean, I don't know how much.
Yurtseven didn't play yesterday.
Yeah, I don't about
Markieff Morris is still paralysed or something.
Nah, he's definitely healthy. He just
wants to make sure.
The Jokic brothers definitely hit him if you love your family.
They've got someone out. They've got someone in a car across from his door. He's scared to leave the house.
He's just waving at him every day on his way out. How's the rehab going? But wouldn't that be crazy if his career just ended?
No, we should laugh about it. We should laugh.
Yeah, we shouldn't.
We should laugh.
Let's remember how it started though. The Morris brothers had it coming, man. I'm not gonna lie.
For a while,
they've been pulling some stuff, bro. But yeah, and also the Heat continuity as well, because as much as it's great to see those under the radar players play up, you can't rely on them in the playoffs because when you get to the playoffs, you're really dealing with a 9-player rotation.
8-9 players.
Yeah, 8-9 player rotation. So as much as that's great to see, that's not gonna do much for you.
They've got a very deep squad. They've got a lot of guys who can contribute, but
that doesn't
they just
mean
don't
much
have that
in the
go-to
playoffs.
guy. They just don't have that go-to guy.
All right, let's talk about the 76ers.
Wait, what?
Maybe
Are we not going standings-wise?
Second seed.
Oh, my bad. I thought we talked about... My bad.
Wow.
That's terrible.
Put some respect on the
That
ball.
is so terrible.
I'm playing.
Hey, right now, even I don't want to put some respect on the Bulls right now.
Let's talk about the Bulls.
Double.
You want to talk about the fake... You want to talk about the BS one? Injuries.
What do you mean injuries?
Injuries are a lot of teams.
We've been hit the worst.
Yeah. Who did we just talk about though? And we didn't come on, man. We just talked about the Bulls. They got hit injuries as well.
all right.
Oh, the Bulls.
Any
The Bulls
team
are losing because of injuries. Okay?
Any team will struggle without their best two defenders. Fact or
Oh my god!
Yeah,
Like,
that's true.
look.
fact or false? Would any team struggle without their two best defenders?
Can I just talk about because
No,
I know
'cause you lot are just-
you're not used to your team being like good, yeah, like contending. But if it's not like when you have your best players, I get your top two defenders, but when you have like your
but
top superstars,
but-
no one cares. No, it is actually true. Like objectively, not having your two best defenders, that's.
But we
definitely
haven't
an
had
issue.
our top two superstars for the whole season. Zach LaVine was out
Yeah.
for quite a while.
But I mean, a lot of these games that we're talking about, where because no one said, "Oh, the Bulls are playing bad" when they were all out for a specific game. But we're talking about the games that you are losing.
Hey, look,
That-
I
when you have them.
didn't even come here to defend the Bulls. I was actually going to come here.
Here we are.
No, because you lot are being disrespectful.
Yeah.
No, look, the record against contending teams is terrible.
Fraud watch.
It's terrible.
We're on fraud watch.
Even
right
I tweeted the other day, we might be pretenders.
Yeah.
But I don't want to give a full analysis of the situation until we have those two back.
Until we get Kent Bazemore back, we can't.
You're a casual. If you're comparing Caruso to Kent Bazemore, you're a casual.
What is your record against top East? Like top
39
teams?
and 23.
No,
Oh.
against top,
Hey, man.
like over
like-
500.
We can't judge them until they get Matt Thomas back, man.
I don't even know what to say right now.
No one's saying.
Hey,
But
what I will say is
injuries is a problem. Yeah.
those
Yeah.
two,
But I don't
those
think-
two are so important to our defense.
To be fair, Alonso is important to offense as well.
But look.
He is-
no,
hold on.
But we need to talk about them when they're healthy, though. Because
No, but what I'm saying is those two are so important to how we play defense.
Yeah.
In the way that we can't even play the same defensive
Type-
scheme.
Yeah.
Like with those two, we play trapping, switching defense. Without those two on the floor, it's man to man. And when you have man to man as Vucevic as your center, that is a problem.
Yeah.
That is a massive, massive problem.
Yeah, but let's fast forward to the playoffs and assume that everyone's back. What are they? What is like? Let's.
I think we have the potential to win a. Well, I think we will win a playoff series.
No, what derails them from winning is what we're talking about.
Again, I just don't. When you look throughout the East, pretty much every team or the main. The main contending teams have a dominant big man.
Yeah.
I do need a drink. My bag's over there, so we'll keep going. Miami, he had Bam Adebayo. Bam Adebayo was given huge buckets.
Putting
The 76ers have Joel Embiid.
at this point,
everyone buckets.
But especially Vucevic. Jesus Christ.
at this point, man, Pornhub gonna be hitting you up trying to ask for these for the highlights to post on there. How you're getting abused inside, man. It's crazy.
So that's going to be our biggest downfall is the fact that, you know, most of the top teams that we're going to be competing with have that dominant force inside. And also what I've seen since Zach's come back, I think when Zach was out, DeMar and Vooch played very well together. Since Zach has come back, he's been out of rhythm, and that has also knocked off DeMar and Vucevic's rhythm as well.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's gonna be about getting that fit and that synergy back before the playoffs. And when we were healthy to start the season, that fit was there and everyone could see it and it worked perfectly. Right now, it's not working. It's not working as well.
But how much of that is so Vucevic? When did Vucevic start playing better? Did that coincide?
He pretty much started playing better when Zach went down.
Yeah. So
But like when I say better, I mean Orlando level Vooch.
yeah.
He
Can he get to that? Because you say the start of the season they're playing better, but he wasn't playing better.
he wasn't, but the
wasn't.
team was.
Everyone
Yeah.
wanted him out.
But so how much? What's that balance there? You need that. You need time for that synergy as well, which you can get there.
I think because of like people like Caruso and Lonzo, they kind of masked Vucevic's defensive inefficiencies.
Yeah.
And that's what made us successful at the start of the year. That's why getting those two back is so important and getting them back to health is so important. Obviously, I got clowned for saying that, but I think
No.
it's like if you lot had Marcus Smart
Yep.
and who's your second best defender? Al Horford, Jalen. If you
Nah, let's not do that. Let's
okay, but
The
say
thing is, don't compare because Jalen's our number 2.
but you can
Let's
compare
say-
Marcus Smart to
let's
like
say
Alex
Marcus
Caruso or
Smart.
Alonzo Ball.
let's
Don't
say
disrespect Marcus Smart to
Okay.
Alex Caruso like that.
I don't think there's that much difference.
but let's say
Yeah, but I know what you mean. Yeah, I
And
understand.
when
terms of
Marcus Smart
importance-
went down recently, you lot struggled. You started losing games. You started ending your win streak. Yes or no?
Well, we had the required, but yeah.
But so it just shows you how important that one piece can be. And we got two of those.
And Marcus
I'm
Smart
not-
missed one game, by the way.
I'm not.
He missed one game, by the way.
And you lost it, didn't you? And it ended your win streak.
And Robert Williams.
And it was
had-
wasn't it against the Pistons?
Shush.
No,
We missed Robert Williams.
My point is obviously those are factors, big factors, in terms of why you're losing right now. But we're talking about just because as we talked about every other team.
It's not just playoffs.
Yeah.
We're talking about like.
Yeah, we're talking
not
about.
now.
Yeah, we're more talking about like the playoffs as how.
Yeah.
And those that's gonna be gone by then. Like you are gonna be more healthy.
I've
Yeah,
I've
but
also
like-
seen in the past 2 games a bit of DeMar DeRozan. He came off that historic streak.
He's in May. He's in May form right now.
No, I saw a little bit. I said a little bit.
You don't
Because
want
look,
that.
he came off that
Coming
historic
playoffs.
streak. He was 1 game away from tying MJ's 30-point record. So yeah, I can't even fault DeMar DeRozan whatsoever. He's been a fantastic
he's
signing
been
for us.
playing
But those last 2 games, it looked like he was. He forced his shots anyway, and they
As
usually
soon
go
as,
in.
as
But
soon as it matters,
I think the Heat, the Heat
man.
just like
the Heat
defensively are
historically
unbelievable.
Oh,
but
yeah,
historically,
yeah,
the Heat take these streaks personally. Like, I think the Heat ended Linsanity back in the day as well. Like the Heat, historically, they've always eyed up these situations where like a player's doing something historically, and they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, we're shutting it down. So
Yeah, and
Yeah.
defensively, he's playing very well. So
Yeah. And Zach LaVine is out of rhythm, as I said, but hopefully he gets back into that. So, yeah, I think the Bulls are contenders, but right now they're looking like pretenders.
yeah.
nice.
All right, so let's go to the Sixers. And by the way, I wasn't trying to disrespect. I didn't have an order in my notes,
Okay,
so that's why I moved to them. My bad.
that's fair.
Yeah.
I know you didn't mean it. I know. You didn't.
Yeah. So let's go to the Sixers.
This is a long episode, by the way.
He's very long.
It's a bit long. It is a bit long.
Should we just run through these because I think I need to give the camera back soon.
Yeah, let's run through the Sixers. So I've got Harris. Harris is awkward fit.
Yep.
I've got Embiid. Well, more so Harden, but a little bit of Embiid in terms of past playoff struggles.
Can Embiid stay healthy?
Can
as well?
Embiid stay healthy? And any team that's led by Doc Rivers, there's question marks in the playoffs. So
Facts.
Yep.
yeah, that's with them.
I struggle for the Bucks.
The Bucks.
I struggle for the Bucks.
The Bucks, I've got Chris Middleton's regression this season.
Yeah.
Because that was a big part of them being able to play last year. Even though Middleton and
Historically, he's a good
Andrew
player performer,
Holiday,
though.
they were both kind of inconsistent
of the
last.
problem.
They were pretty inconsistent last year.
Yeah.
There were even games in the finals or the series before where they kind of disappeared, but the other went off, or Giannis went off to mask it.
Or Holiday went off as well.
Yeah, to mask it. But Middleton has, because it was debatable whether he was even All-Star this year. So you can't replicate last season's magic with him playing like this right now. So they're gonna need that, especially with the East a lot more.
Yeah,
stacked.
because last year the Bucks, they don't win that title without.
Yeah, because he had some 40-point games.
Yeah.
And
Like
clutch
and
situations.
against the Heat as well, like
Yeah.
first round, second round, when Giannis went out,
when he went
Middleton
out.
was playing very well.
Yeah, the way he closed out he was part of that closeout for the finals as well.
Yeah.
And then also just that Heat matchup that just seems to be defensively, they seem to a lot of the time be able to neutralize Giannis, and obviously they kind of got over the hump last year, but could that
I mean, they
return a little
dominated.
bit?
I think
Because even in the regular season,
I'll be
obviously-
interested to see what the matchup is in the regular season. Like, what's the record between that matchup?
I think the season just Bucks are they're not very like last year they tried to get number one, but this season they are more relaxed. So
I think
I think they just focus like
that comes from a confidence with winning a title because you know you can beat anyone. You don't have to show it anymore. So
and no one is like in media talking about Bucks, can they win?
Because you even saw once the Cavs won that title, they started surrendering the first seed. They started going second or third.
Because they understand that we can.
We don't have to go all out. We're not trying to get 70 games every year.
Speaking of the Cavs,
Experience.
Cavs inexperience, just like the Grizzlies.
This will be a lot of players' first playoff appearance.
Half of the team.
Yeah, so it'll be tough for them.
One thing they got going for them is that they are founded in their foundation is defense, which
translates well to the playoffs.
Translates well, and it's not really something that you're gonna struggle to do regardless of experience. But
Boston?
Offensively is tough. Boston playmaking.
To be fair, Smart has been this season. He's very good at playmaking, and with Tatum as well. I think we just need to keep healthy. I don't know, ISO probably. If we start playing ISO ball.
Yeah, that's what I mean with playmaking. Just like not your ability to play make, but your tendencies to go away from playmaking.
That's kind of another problem with us as well that I forgot to mention is that a lot of our offense comes from a Zach ISO or a DeMar ISO.
And when we were like moving out, like when ball's moving, like we were playing very well. But when like sometimes just like Tatum clicks off and starts ISO ball, then it's like
because I'll always go back to the example with the Clippers a couple of years back when they blew the lead to Denver. Is that you have players that are really good at they're really elite in isolation and shot creating, but when you rely on that too much, that's when it starts to develop like difficult shots, and then you have stretches where you can't make a bucket.
Are we finishing with the Nets?
The Nets.
I think it's pretty obvious what their biggest weakness is.
Kyrie is only available for 7 out of the last 19 games.
He can sit on the bench and watch.
He can sit on the bench now.
If he steps 2 centimeters over that line,
he still can't play.
He can't play. So they changed it so that he could sit courtside, but he can't play.
No, they got rid of. So it was 2 different rules that were. So there was a statewide mandate of everyone, just in general. But then there was one where it was like private sectors, where it's like employees. And they haven't got rid of the employees one. So he's allowed to be there and spectate. He's allowed to spectate, but he's not allowed.
We also don't know.
That other rule is probably going to be lifted at some point.
I think.
We also don't know how Ben Simmons is going to come back.
Yeah, because now
apparently he's not playing against Philly.
And it's been developed. Now it started off as we're ramping him up. Now it's kind of they're saying that he's got a back injury, and they're saying they hope to get him in the regular season. So that doesn't sound very promising. And KD's back tonight. Yeah, KD's back tonight.
KD's back tonight. That's going to be a massive help. It's not going to be great for my fantasy as I have Steph Curry, so that's some shots taken away from Steph Curry. But I think the Nets probably out of those contenders have the most going against them.
Yeah,
and
they have no
continuity as well today.
Yeah, the Nets.
But that would be a statement. If Durant comes back in his first game and they beat the Heat, that would be a big statement.
Yeah, that's the thing. The Nets have no continuity. That's their biggest problem. But what they have going in their favour is they've just kind of shown that they're the type of team that has been able to play through that.
Yeah.
Like consistently throughout the years since Durant's been back from injury, from the Achilles, especially last year, they would not play for stretches, have one or the other, and then they'd come back together and they'd still dominate. So if any team is built to be able to play without continuity, it's them.
Yeah, true.
Right.
Facts.
So we've been through all of the potential
Didn't
contenders.
go through the Jazz.
We've been through all the potential contenders. I mean, we
didn't talk about the Nuggets. Are the Nuggets a contender?
Yeah, that's a potential one. I wanted to talk about them. It's just kind of like they haven't officially got MPJ or Murray back.
And you don't know how well they're going to play when they're back.
If they get playoff Murray.
If they get bubble Murray.
Yeah, that's what I meant by playoff Murray.
Yeah, because they just lost to us last night, so...
Yeah, but they've been doing amazingly in their last 10. 8-2 in their last 10. So it's like
to be fair,
you can drop a random game against a terrible opposition.
They game back from
terrible opposition.
They game back.
If you run into Shea, that's tough.
Yeah,
no, but Shea, it was Shea and We didn't even have Giddy or Dor or anyone either. We literally had. Who do we have? Shea.
Hey man,
we played great and we lost against Pistons.
Let's clap up for OKC victory against the Nuggets. Well done.
By the way,
that's something to go in the rafters, right? Because they're quite empty.
Yeah. Right. By the way, as it still stands officially, we've been in the playoffs more recently than the Bulls. As it still stands.
That's a great NBA title. That's a great NBA title. Well done. Is that in the rafters as well?
How many? Who's witnessed a title for their favorite team in recent years?
I watched the documentary.
Oh, wow. You have to watch historical documentary. You know how bad that sounds. I watched the World War II documentary as well, man. Doesn't mean I was there.
Ooh.
Oh,
yeah, chill.
I mean,
don't jinx anything. Don't jinx anything.
Yeah, don't
jinx anything. I think that's a. I think we should end it there.
Just end it there.
Yeah. Hopefully neither of those things happen anytime soon.
One of those things. I mean, let me clarify. The Bulls winning the championship. Not the other thing. Definitely not the other thing.
We're bright.
All right. Do the outro, man. Do the outro.
Well, that concludes this week's episode of the Four Quarter Talk podcast. It was a bit of a lengthy one, but we got to make up for not having one last week, I guess. So pause.
How old
that doesn't even sound. No, when they're directly, obviously sound. But when you have to reach for any word, that's kind of sus in itself, man.
Nah, lengthy's crazy, man. Lengthy's crazy. Alright,
we out, man.
We'll see you next week, man.